Well, hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Well, here we are right before, actually a couple days before the firearm deer season here in the state of Michigan. It is an exciting time to be a sportsman. And of course, we're going to lead off this week's show with something to get you excited for the firearm deer season. Actually kind of a re-edit of last year's opening day. It was a ton of fun.
Yep, and speaking of opening days, another very popular opening day here in Michigan is opening day of pheasant season. We'll take a look at how that looked out in the field, and we'll also show you a couple of different buck pulls that are happening in the southern part of the state to get you excited for that.
That's right, and we're going to kind of end this week's show with something that we do every year on the show right before the firearm deer season. That is kind of a tribute to deer season, something that hung in the cabin that I grew up going to, the deer camp that I was a part of, and that is a poem called Palace and the Popple. So lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger.
And I'm Jenny Olson, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meyer. By Chappelle, providing sleds, shelters, and accessories for your time on the ice. Chappelle offers a line of pop-ups, flipovers, and the Bay Runner, a mobile cabin with a shelf for electronics and a sliding seat. On the web at chappelle.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
Finally, I had arrived at the tent camp that I had been so excited to see. I was there before all the troops arrived and had Kyle Anderson and his daughter Kelsey show me around. Okay, well, we finally made it to deer camp. Can you give me a tour here, Kyle? What do you got going on?
You bet. Actually, this is our deer camp. This is our sleeping quarters.
Okay. Nice. Oh, there's plenty of space in here.
Plenty of space, yes.
Now, how many will you be sleeping in here then tonight?
We're gonna have 10.
10. Okay.
10 of us will be at deer camp, and so we have quite a few kids now that have joined our camp. And so we're excited. And my daughter Kelsey is her first rifle season with her dad, so
very cool.
Looking very forward to it.
It's hard to beat a well-run tent camp, and there's something nostalgic about it as well. But to be honest, I really wouldn't call this roughing it. This was quite a camp, and it was fun to hear how it all began here just outside of Clare.
8 years ago, we decided as a group, when Tom joined us, that public land and the work that it had going back into the area where we normally hunted was just getting too difficult as we started to have kids, and kids were being a part of it with us, and we're very committed to having the kids with us on board as you've seen in the last few days. A good friend of mine from college, I did a lot of bow hunting with over here in Clare, and we always did well, enjoyed each other's company, and with his help and his family's help, we found a neighbor's farm, and we've been leasing this farm for the last 8 years, and I've had a traditional tent camp ever since.
Well, we were seeing quite a few deer from our double ladder stand. We even had a small buck come into range pretty early on. And with everybody having their own view of quality deer management, Eric told me their strategy on what bucks he would be looking for to shoot today.
With us here, we're limited since it's not our own farm, and since we lease it and the neighboring properties don't necessarily adhere to it. We try to stick to 3 points on a side where we we have a filter that says, so we're not just shooting anything out here. But then on the other hand, we go down to 3 points on the side just so obviously we can put meat in the freezer and still get a fair number of kills in the season. But ultimately, we're passing on the smaller bucks, at least most of the smaller bucks, trying to get them into the next season, if not the next 2 seasons.
Well, Eric had told me that if a 6-point gave us a good look, that he was going to try to take it. This buck was a little over 100 yards away, and as soon as Eric had a good shot, he was looking to pull the trigger. Well, as the smoke cleared, Eric had made a perfect shot and dropped the deer right where it stood. It was a great morning.
6-point, come in and...
And you guys got a 6-point or better rule here?
Yeah, we have a 3-point on the side. Is kind of what we try to stick by.
Okay.
And buck came in, sniffing around some does, and the muzzleloader did the job. Dropped it.
Yeah, the smoke cleared and there he laid.
You have a bunch of smoke in the camera.
I'm sure, yeah. We're kind of precarious here in this little 2-man stand, but it worked pretty good.
Yeah. I would say, Jimmy, that this morning went exactly how I wanted it to go since you'd be sitting with me this morning, and now we're going to get you a buck.
All right,
Beautiful morning, beautiful day.
Oh, yeah. What a great morning of hunting. Eric's son Jacob was only about 75 yards away from us looking over a different valley, so he joined us as we made our way to the buck. Now, this was not the biggest buck that Eric had seen while hunting this area this year, but he was more than happy to put his tag on it. Even with shooting 6 points or better, the guys let a lot of young bucks walk and do ensure some nice 2- and 3-year-old bucks are running around. The fun was just getting started as we rolled into camp with the only buck taken on the opening morning hunt. All the kids were back at camp and had to hear the story. And of course, that's a big part of deer camp, sharing what happened when you get back to camp. I was thrilled to actually get to do a little hunting myself. Eric sat with Jacob about 75 yards or so away, and I was in a little tent blind that I would occupy, and I had hopes for big things. I was seeing a lot of deer this early morning, catching some does moving from a nearby field into some lower and thicker cover. It was not the greatest spot to videotape from, but there were a lot of deer moving. What happened next was kind of cool. Where Eric and Jacob were sitting, they could see a 6-point moving toward me. They had a camera with them as well, and were able to get the buck on camera as it moved down the ridge, kind of towards my direction. I heard the buck grunt behind me, and it gave me a chance to get in a position in the blind to get the deer on camera, and maybe, just maybe, get a shot.
Well, that was pretty exciting to say the least.
This was a great hunt with a lot of really good folks. Now, did we shoot the biggest bucks? Well, no, but we were proud of what we got, and it was pretty cool to have so many kids in deer camp as well. I hope your time in the woods this season is something that you will remember, and I hope you get to sit around a fire and enjoy some time at deer camp here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Well, if you're watching this show on Deer Eve, November the 14th on Thursday night, hopefully that story that we just showed you will get you excited for what's going to happen tomorrow, the start of the firearm season here in the state of Michigan. If you're watching this on Saturday, hopefully that'll still get you excited for all the different deer camps that are happening around the state right now. What we're going to do now is shift gears to another opening day here in the state of Michigan that used to be a really big deal, and that is the pheasant opener. Well, there's nowhere near the birds that we used to have here in the state of Michigan, but they are making a resurgence in pockets here in the state of Michigan, and there are spots like Montcalm County where you can have a great hunt on wild birds.
Pheasant numbers here in Michigan seem to be on the rebound after numbers plummeted to a modern low in 2010. A massive decrease in habitat over the last couple of decades has made pheasant hunting pretty tough in most parts of the state, but not impossible. With the right habitat, there's still some good hunting to be had, and that's exactly what we were counting on today.
Well, we're getting started on a pheasant hunt this morning. Sold that at our banquet a couple of weeks ago. These guys are going to be out here running through John Krakowski, Rocky Snyder's property. We've got Holly Hayes of Double H Wimes here to do the dog work, and we're just getting started through some native prairie.
Habitat is everything when it comes to pheasant hunting, and the property we are on today had it all, with a mixture of both switch and native prairie grasses with a few food plots mixed in. It made for excellent habitat for all wildlife.
It's all warm season grass, native warm season grass mix, switch grass, and then the native prairie mixes. What we're looking at here are fire breaks that we put in, that we plant into food plots. That way we can go back and manage the warm season grasses, burn them, and have fire breaks in to be able to enhance the habitat. Because every so often the prairie grass starts to build up a lot of mass underneath, and it's not as good for birds or any animals for that matter. It makes it a lot, the grass is more invigorated, it does a lot better. That's why we've got 6 foot tall switchgrass and also the native prairie grass. This time of year, early in the year like this, the switchgrass is so thick that it doesn't really hold as many birds. There's a lot of other natural covers that are holding birds, but once we get into December and January, in the winter months, the switchgrass is the lifeblood of having birds here.
Shortly into the second field, we found our first rooster, one that surprised the shooter and I both.
Well, it's close. Touched him. We'll go find him again.
With one bird down and several hens jumped, we were excited to see what the rest of the morning had in store.
We've heard good things this year for this year's pheasant season outlook. From what we've heard from the Michigan DNR, their mail carrier brood survey counts that they do every year are actually higher this year. The highest they've been in 9 years, which is encouraging. We attribute a lot of that to weather has been favorable the last couple years. We've had a couple relatively mild winters on most of the southern half of Lower Peninsula, and good nesting seasons, which has allowed for some successful hatches for birds, and numbers are looking up this year, which is good because we fell to an all-time low for the pheasant harvest in 2010. So this is encouraging news, it really is. And I'm hearing a lot of the same from landowners and our Pheasants Forever chapter members, kind of confirming this, saying they're seeing more birds than they have in a number of years, and in different places too. So that's good. That's the good news. Now the bad news is, in terms of Michigan's pheasant history, the numbers are still relatively low. Like I said, we fell to a modern low in 2010. So in 2011, we started this thing called the Michigan Pheasant Restoration Initiative with our partners Pheasants Forever and Michigan DNR and a whole number of other wildlife organizations and agencies to try to answer the call, to try to stem the decline of pheasants. And it all boils down to habitat. And so the good news is pheasant numbers are up a little this year. The bad news is they could plummet even further with a bad nesting season. Say next year it's real cold and wet. Because we continue to lose habitat in Michigan.
As the morning went on, we continued to find birds, and it didn't take long to find another rooster that had ran out of running room at the end of a field.
Easy, duck. Woo!
look at the feathers. No kidding. Nice shot.
Well, I'm done. Second bird, that's a good morning. I don't even think it's 10 o'clock, so.
Find it, buddy. Had to wait for it to clear through guys.
That's right. Swing and duck. So it was a good morning, though. I appreciate John doing this for everyone, and Rocky.
It didn't go far.
It's great of them to do this, and the habitat they manage is pretty unbelievable.
With one hunter tagged out, the landowner grabbed the gun and we continued on, hoping to find a few more roosters, but happy to see so many hens in the mix as the future looks bright here in Montcalm County.
It looks good for the future. The pheasant initiative here in Michigan has been a great thing, great addition. This cover, we're hunting over 100 acres of just continuous grass cover, interspersed with a little bit of agriculture and some food plots. So just a fantastic area for pheasants here in Michigan. Cover's a little wet, but the sun's out, got a nice little light breeze, and it's fantastic. The dogs have been working great, and birds have been flying real well for us. A lot of birds, a lot of action this morning.
Get up there, Nate.
Whoa.
Oh,
running. Rooster.
Gotta be quicker on the trigger, kiddo.
He just grabbed a gun.
Yeah, Bryce limited out and handed me his gun, so I had to oblige him and take it.
Maybe it's just the gun.
Could be. Okay, you want to use this one, Nate?
Pheasants are so habitat sensitive that they flat out will not be there unless you have habitat. So, you know, when people talk about predation, whether it's, you know, nest raiders or avian predators or fox and coyotes, things of that nature, you know, that stuff happens. But like I said, that's just a symptom of what's truly going on with lack of habitat. When we start to shrink the size of area that pheasants can live and raise their broods in, it's like a dinner platter for predators. It really is. I mean, if it's easy for us to find them, it's super easy for predators to find them. So it's all about large blocks of quality grass habitat.
All right. Done for the day. That's 2.
This beautiful habitat out here in Montcalm County as part of this pheasant hunt that was a fundraiser for the chapter. It's what we're talking about with this pheasant restoration initiative. They've created a bit of a wild pheasant recovery area here because it's not just one landowner. It's a few landowners in this area that care about this stuff that have collectively started to put habitat on the ground, grassland habitat, and you know, we're seeing birds all over the place here today. And it's a prime example of what we're trying to achieve with this pheasant initiative, getting landowners to buy into this concept.
After a long and successful day of hunting, we made our way back to Ben's father's cabin to sit down and enjoy a nice homemade meal and recap the day's hunt.
We're finishing up the hunt. We're going to head over to Jay Wickerham's cabin, and that's part of the package as well as a lunch at the cabin. Jay is actually one of the founding members here in Montcalm County for Pheasants Forever. Started the chapter 27 years ago and just happens to be Ben's father. So it's just kind of a great story to kind of bring the whole circle back together. Somebody that started it, and now the son is really running the whole organization for the state of Michigan.
Habitat is key here in Michigan if we ever want pheasant numbers to return to what they once were. And today was a prime example of what good habitat can produce. Special thanks to John, Bob, Ben, and everyone else involved for letting me tag along on a great day of pheasant hunting here in central Michigan.
Something that's kind of a tradition here in Michigan as opposed to other parts of the country is a community buck pull. And if you've never taken part in one of those, there's a way you can do it now from the comfort of your own home.
With deer season in full swing here in Michigan, there are lots of buck pulls offering contests and prizes for local hunters to show off their successes and hear stories from other sportsmen in the area. Well, a group of Michigan hunters has come up with a buck pull for the entire state to enjoy.
Basically, the Michigan buck pull is we took the whole concept of your local town buck pull and we took it to the internet. We created a website, took the state of Michigan, we broke it down by counties, so you can go to your individual county and upload your photo for the buck that you took that day. And with each photo, we ask that you put on a couple of basic stats of the county you shot it in, what date it was, the weapon you used, and maybe a little short story. And we post that on our site, and then now it allows the whole community to see not only deer that have been harvested in their local town, but now you can see across the whole entire state when the bucks are harvested, when they're moving, and it kind of gives you a really good sense of what's happening during the season. What you do, once you shoot a buck, you're going to take your photo, obviously, and then you're going to go to our website, and there's an upload photo button, and there's a whole section where it walks you through and it gives you a format of what we're asking for, how big it was, number of points, if you had it scored by CBM or whoever you use to choose to do that. As you're filling in the info, there's certain required fields that we ask for, and then there's some optional ones that you can fill in as well. So if you do have a story that you want to tell, that you're really excited about to share with the hunting community, you can do that. And once you upload it, we put your photo, after screening it, we put it up online, and people from all around the state get to comment it, they get to vote on it, because we do a voting system, because we give away prizes throughout the whole year, for, all throughout the season, for different types of bucks. Basically, we ask for, it's an integrity thing. I mean, we ask for deer that are shot this year, but we do post, on the off season, we do post deer from all throughout the years. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you shot it 4 years ago, we'll still post it up there. But on the main website, it goes by category, so you'll be able to click which year you're in, and the most recent is going to be this season that we're in. We're coming out with a trophy this year called the Michigan Big Buck Cup, one for archery and also one for firearm. Right now we're partnered with Prime Bows to do for the top archer, and then also we're looking for a sponsor right now to do the firearm cup as well. And it's kind of the same idea as the Stanley Cup. You get to keep this cup and you get your name engraved on it, and you keep the trophy for the whole year, and then you pass it on the next year to the next competition winner.
What a great idea, and a great way for deer hunters across the state to check in on other communities to see what's happening throughout deer season. Another buck pull that's becoming a Michigan Out of Doors tradition is in Richmond at the Dick Hoovar Dodge dealership in the Macomb and St. Clair County area. This year marks the 3rd year for the buck pull, and if last year is any indication, it's going to continue growing in popularity for folks in this area of the state.
The community is just loving it. We've got people coming from all, as far as Saginaw deer were coming in.
Well, why do you think it's so popular for people?
Because we're right in the middle of hunting, country. Everybody here hunts. We're one of the biggest ram dealers around, so we're in truck country. And from here north, everybody shuts down. The cities, they shut their schools down, the municipals for opening day. So, and it's just a nice way to gather with the family. There's a lot of kids here. We make sure we've got stuff for the kids. The DNR's here with simulators. We got GameStop here this year. You can go in and do the latest and greatest hunting games. So I think it's just a nice night out with the family. So.
We'll be at the Dick Hoovar Buck Pull again this year on the evening of November 16th, so stop in and say hello if you're in the area. Good luck to all of our deer hunters from Copper Harbor down to Monroe. Here's hoping we all have a safe and successful season in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, it has become a tradition here on Michigan Out of Doors television and in many deer camps around the state. In the days leading up to the firearm deer season, as kind of a tribute to the season, we want to bring you a poem that we do every year this time of the year. It's called Palace in the Popples.
It's a smoky, raunchy boar's nest with an unswept, drafty floor, with pillow-ticking curtains and knife scars in the door. The smell of a pine knot fire from a stovepipe that's come loose mingles sweetly with the boot grease and the Copenhagen snooze. There are work-worn 30-30s with scratched and battered stocks and drying lines of long johns and steaming, pungent socks. There's a table for the bloody four and their game of two-card draw. There's deep and dreamless sleeping on bunk ticks stuffed with straw. Frank's been drafted for cook again and is peeling some spuds for stew, while Bruce wanders by in baggy drawers reciting Dangerous Dan McGrew. Nowhere on earth is fire so warm or coffee so infernal, nor whiskers so stiff, jokes so rich, or where hope blooms so eternal. A guy could live for a solid week in the same old underbritches and walk like a man and spit where he wants and scratch himself where it itches. I tell you boys, there is no place else I'd rather be come fall, where I eat like a bear and sing like a wolf and feel like I'm bull pine tall. In that raunchy cabin up in the north in the land of the deer and the loon, with the tracking snow lying new to the ground at the end of the rutting moon.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Exciting weekend here in Michigan. So deer season is upon us. We're going to try to cover the entire state. I will be up in the Upper Peninsula. I have a wolf tag too, so I'll be deer hunting and wolf hunting up there.
That's pretty cool.
That is very exciting. I hope I even get to see one. That'll be pretty cool. And rumor has it, our good friend James Ford is also going to be hunting with a camera up in the UP too.
That's right. We're hoping to see some of that footage, and actually our old friend Gabe Van Warmer, who's going to be working with us a little bit more over the next several months, months. He's going to have a camera rolling in southern Michigan. Jordan Brown, producer here at Michigan Out of Doors, he's going to be up in the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula in the TB zone on state land. So that's going to be a good challenging hunt for him, but a really cool group of guys that he's going to be with, deer camp there. And then I'm going to be over in the middle of the thumb with some guys that do pretty well every year. So we got our fingers crossed, and stay tuned over the next several weeks. We're going to have lots of good stuff coming up, a lot of bow hunting stuff that we're going to be showing you, some good fishing, and we're going to save all of our opening day stuff for the very first Thursday in December. PBS, we're going to do a special 1-hour pledge show around that. So all of our opening day stuff, at least the start of it, will happen the first week of December. So stay tuned over the next several weeks, though. Lots of good bow hunting, lots of good fishing going on. So if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week for Michigan Out of Doors.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Jay's Sporting Goods with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's, serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's, on the web at jayssportinggoods.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit, January 9th through 12th at Novi's Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and seminars on all Michigan game fish. The Ultimate Fishing Show, January 9th through 12th. By Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meyer. Closed captioning is brought to you by Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man.